It all started with a single photo that quietly dropped on a fan blog late one night. No hashtags, no explanation, just an image of Papoose embracing a young man with Claressa Shields standing just beside them, her hand resting gently on the young man's shoulder. The embrace wasn't staged, it was emotionally raw, and you could see it all in Papoose's face. His eyes were tightly shut, his brows scrunched together like he was trying to hold it all in, and the young man his arms wrapped around his father as if that hug had been waiting for years. But what caught everyone off guard wasn't just the hug. It was who the young man was, Papoose's son, his trans son. People were stunned not just because they didn't know he had a son, but because this was the first time Papoose publicly acknowledged him in years. Rumors floated that Papoose had a child from a previous relationship, someone he didn't talk about, someone whose story was kept hidden, but no one knew the full truth. And now, with one powerful image, the truth was undeniable: his son was real. He was present, and he was being embraced not just by his father but by Claressa too. Within hours, that photo spread like wildfire. Fans zoomed in, cropped it, and reposted it with captions ranging from celebratory to confused. People had questions. Where was Remy Ma? Why hadn't she ever mentioned Papoose's son? And why was Claressa the one standing beside them, holding that space like it belonged to her? The silence from Remy's side made it louder. It felt like something bigger was happening, a story that had been boiling underneath for a long time finally bubbling to the surface. But to really understand how big of a moment this was, you have to rewind. Papoose and Remy Ma were once seen as one of hip-hop's strongest couples. They stood by each other through prison time, career ups and downs, and family struggles. When Remy was locked up, Papoose held it down. When she got out, they married and tried to rebuild their empire together, but cracks started to show. In recent years, rumors of infidelity, separation, and emotional distance kept circulating, though both remained mostly silent. Then Claressa Shields entered the picture. At first, people didn't think much of it. Claressa is a world-class boxer, bold and fierce, and not the type to chase clout. Her friendship with Papoose seemed random, but gradually it started to make sense. They were seen together at events, sometimes laughing, sometimes in deep conversation. There was something gentle about their connection. It wasn't flashy, but it felt real. Claressa didn't act like someone looking for attention, she acted like someone who was holding space for a man who hadn't had much peace in a long time. Insiders now say Claressa was the one who encouraged Papoose to reach out to his son, that the young man who had transitioned quietly and lived away from the spotlight had been hesitant about reconnecting. It wasn't just about gender, it was about time lost, years of silence, fear of rejection, and for Papoose it was about guilt. He didn't know how to show up, how to make it right, or if he even deserved to try. But Claressa wasn't about making excuses. She reportedly spoke with the son herself, helped rebuild trust, and stood by Papoose during every step. It wasn't performative. She didn't post about it. She didn't make it a moment for social media. She simply did the work behind the scenes, because that's who she is. And when the reunion finally happened, she was there not to take credit, but to witness it, to hold the space, to protect the moment. There were no flashing cameras or headline-grabbing moments. Just a small community event in Brooklyn, attended by a small circle of friends and family. One attendee described the scene as witnessing two wounded souls slowly finding their rhythm again, a tender dance of forgiveness and understanding, and the atmosphere was filled with vulnerability, tears shared, softly whispered conversations, carrying the weight of unspoken emotions, and long stretches of silence where feelings spoke louder than words ever could. The reunion day was marked by a quiet, purposeful energy rather than a grand spectacle or a media frenzy. After what seemed like a lifetime, the hug that followed swiftly became widely shared on the internet. That embrace represented the healing of strained relationships and the potential for fresh starts, and went beyond simple physical contact. But one conspicuous omission stood out amid the public outpouring of support and emotional responses. The rapper Remy Ma did not go to the event or post about it on social media, which prompted fans and followers to notice her silence right away. When questioned about her absence, some of Ray's remarks were either removed or disregarded, which fueled the allegations. This appeared to be deliberate behind the scenes rather than just a matter of a missed invitation or scheduling difficulty. According to insiders, Remy Ma's distance was caused by deeper problems in the family for a while. There have been rumors that Remy Ma had misgivings about Papoose's son, whose recent transition has reportedly caused tension in their home. It's unclear what those tensions are about, whether they are the result of discomfort, misunderstanding, or outright disapproval, but what is known is that this family dynamic made it more difficult to reconcile, while Papoose was keen to mend. Broken relationships. As the story progresses, it becomes evident that healing is rarely simple and that sometimes the absence of one voice makes room for another to be heard. This contrast wasn't missed by fans, who started to scrutinize the entire situation more closely while Remy Ma continued to post stylish fashion photos and motivational quotes about staying unbothered. It was Claressa who was obviously doing the heavy emotional work behind the scenes. Claressa allegedly discouraged those efforts, adding strain to an already delicate situation in this complicated and emotionally charged space. Claressa did more for that man's healing in 6 months than Remy did in 6 years, tweeted one fan, neatly encapsulating the situation. This generated a heated online discussion. While some fans of Remy defended her, saying that she never agreed to be the emotional caregiver in this complicated scenario and that she deserved space, others were far less understanding, accusing her of abandoning someone she had once publicly referred to as her king. Amid the escalating tensions, Papoose sent a comment on social media that conveyed more than just words. Rather than writing a lengthy explanation or criticizing anyone specifically, he offered a brief yet impactful quotation. "Sometimes there is no healing from those closest to you, sometimes it comes from those brave enough to see you." He omitted names and tags, but the meaning was obvious to everyone who was listening. It was a message for Claressa. Despite the drama and rumors circulating about them, Papoose never publicly criticized Remy, but it was evident to fans that something had changed between them. His loyalty, which had previously been unwavering and unquestioning, seemed to have shifted. This shift wasn't necessarily about romance, though fans eagerly conjectured on that front, but rather something deeper and more profound. It was an emotional shift that suggested Papoose was finding understanding and healing in unexpected places, a genuine connection that transcended the surface and the past. Remy Ma finally ended her lengthy silence with a mysterious post that said a lot without actually saying much. She posted a picture of herself along with the straightforward words, "Not everything deserves a response. Some things just deserve distance." Though brief, the message was clear and carried a weighty meaning. It wasn't a direct reply to the ongoing drama, but it was unmistakably a statement of boundaries. As fans immediately sensed the tension, this wasn't just about words left unsaid, but about divisions that ran much deeper. As the social media world buzzed with reactions, debates flared up, and loyalties were tested, it became obvious that this story was about more than just the surface level disputes. It was about the painful realities of presence and absence, love and neglect at its core. This wasn't simply a tale about gender roles or parenting challenges, it was about showing up for one another, about being present in moments when it truly matters, and about who chooses to stand firm during the darkest and most vulnerable times in this unfolding narrative. Claressa emerged as the person who did what many might not have been willing or able to do. She stayed, she offered support. She lifted up, and she refused to run away from the messiness of pain and healing, and that made all the difference. Papoose's son, who is currently in his early 20s, posted a black and white selfie with the comment, "You have no idea what that hug meant to me," a few days after Ray's tweet. His message was silent but heartfelt. Suddenly the story took on a new dimension. This young man, often reduced to headlines or rumors, was seen as more than just a figure in a family drama. He became human, a person who had waited a lifetime for a moment of connection, a moment of healing, a moment of recognition that finally arrived. Now fans and followers are watching closely, eager to see what this means moving forward. Is there something deeper growing between Papoose and Claressa, or was this reunion purely about healing fractured relationships and finding peace? The truth remains unknown, but one thing is certain, this story has cracked something open, a door to understanding, forgiveness, and the complicated beauty of human connection. Sometimes the real ones show up when you least expect it, not with noise, not with drama, but with presence, love, and a willingness to stand in truth no matter how uncomfortable. And for Papoose, that truth finally came full circle, not through Fame, not through his wife, but through a son he almost lost and a woman no one saw coming.